beaten and broken, our liberty dimmed, the enemy advances. He always wins. He has all the answers, we're crushed by his power. We fall to our knees in this darkest hour. Not so fast. Freedom Czar is here from freedomczar.com. We'll show you how to win against the enemy of liberty from without and within. And now this week's Freedom Czar Report.
Prager University recently released a video entitled Why Modern Art is So Bad, which purports to show all the reasons why modern art is bad. Now, I want to let everyone know Prager University, the eponymous school of Dennis Prager, does great work. On the main, Prager University is cutting edge for how to do effective, relevant, and entertaining apologetics. So the fact that they released this video was not merely disappointing, it was stunning to me. What Prager University did in this video was meet all the cliches that the left constantly hits the right with. They're narrow-minded, they are reactionaries just trying to hold on to the old-fashioned fuddy-duddy ways. Here's a tip in apologetics. It's called, don't fulfill your opponent's lowest expectation of yourself. And I'm afraid that this is exactly what happened here. Robert Florzak, who is listed as an artist and illustrator, narrates this slamming of modern art. If you visit his self-titled website, you'll find an artist who fits in more in the turn of the last century, or perhaps with the acceptable art of, say, an Adolf Hitler, than you would modern art. And anyone who has studied art, especially in the 20th century, will realize exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not calling Florzak a Nazi, but Adolf Hitler only accepted naturalistic, highly representational art that was inspiring, just like Florzak. A modern critic of his art would go something like this: wholly and unimaginatively derivative of the most pedestrian of quaint representational art styles, with little innovation or fresh contemporary interpretation. And that's me writing that. I just wanted to add that part for a bit of a context of the artist who will now be offering a blistering critique of modern art. Early on, he lays down his marker for the qualities of true art, after listing off such greats as Rembrandt. Great art, according to Florzak, should do these three things: inspire us, uplift us, and deepen us. It is a rather narrow interpretation of the breadth and depth of the potential for artistic expression, and certainly the very definitions of inspiring, uplifting, and deepening are subject to a wide interpretation. At one point, he holds up the claim that the best of modern art today is the silly, pointless, and offensive, and this is a pretty sweeping statement that reveals more about his lack of understanding of the full range of modern art than it does about modern art at all. Of course, he then traipses out the worst offenses of modern art excess. The portrait of Mary covered in feces and the big rock on display in Los Angeles. For sure, pretentious, silly, pointless, offensive art does exist, but it is hardly the prevailing representation of the fullness of the expression of modern art. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but that's a bad thing. It's artistic relativism, actually. He calls it aesthetic relativism, which of course is bad. Florzak would have you believe that art can be subjected to the very narrow rules of acceptable artistic excellence, and that all artists should follow these narrow rules. Now I ask you, does that sound reactionary, old-fashioned, fuddy-duddy, narrow-minded? And why exactly did Prager University feel the need to spend such precious time and resources creating a video using the same type of techniques they use on all their other videos, slamming modern art in a way that reveals more about their ignorance of art rather than about the case they have made against modern art? This takes us to another principle of apologetics. Don't be distracted from the salient or most important points of the discourse. Modern art is not the problem. As a matter of fact, if conservatives claim to be lovers of liberty and freedom, it is a better world with pointless and offensive art in it, if that means we live in a world in which artists aren't narrowly defined by a set of rules and regulations that might produce the type of derivative, unimaginative art of, say, a Robert Florzak. Let me leave you with just some closing remarks here. The first is about Florzak's assault on Jackson Pollock. In this video, he shows a close-up of what he claims to be a painting of Pollock. When I saw this painting, knowing Pollock as I do, I immediately thought either that's not his work, or it must be some terrible early work I've never seen. When the camera pulls back, it reveals the painting is really just a dirty paint rag. So Pollock's work is nothing more amazing than a paint rag. And as Florzak himself says, he understands, because how can you really tell the difference between the two? Now, I've seen Pollock's paintings live. I've seen others try to do Pollock. There are very few people who've mastered the complex sense of composition and color that Pollock managed to master in those splash action paintings. Finally, Florzak draws an analogy between figure skating and art, saying that figure skaters don't just go and do whatever they want to do. They have to follow a set of rules to get good scores, and by implication, so should artists. Well, I say no. Artists, unless they are actually entering a contest or a juried show with specific guidelines, should not be limited by rules so they can get a good score. Even God tells us we should sing new song. This phrase, to sing a new song, is found throughout the Psalms. It means this: do things in a different way, even if you're saying more or less the same things. Otherwise, your song will get stagnant, and people will no longer get anything meaningful out of it other than ritual. Don't be like Prager University. Don't follow your opponent's worst expectations of yourself, and whatever you do, don't be distracted from the salient point of your discourse. Leave the debate over what is art to the artist and his or her audience, because you know what? At the end of the day, beauty really is in the eye of the beholder. And I will leave you here with some highlights from Prager University video, Why Modern Art is So Bad, which should actually be titled, Why Conservatives Talking About Modern Art is So Bad.
Master after master, from Leonardo to Rembrandt to Bierstadt, produced works that inspired, uplifted, and deepened us. And they did this by demanding of themselves the highest standards of excellence, improving upon the work of each previous generation of masters, and continuing to aspire to the highest quality attainable. Beginning in the late 19th century, a group dubbed the Impressionists rebelled against the French Académie des Beaux-Arts and its demand for classical standards. Whatever their intentions, the new modernists sowed the seeds of aesthetic relativism, the beauty is in the eye of the beholder mentality. The great art historian Jacob Rosenberg wrote that quality in art is not merely a matter of personal opinion, but to a high degree objectively traceable. But the idea of a universal standard of quality in art is now usually met with strong resistance, if not open ridicule. Without aesthetic standards, we have no way to determine quality or inferiority. Here's a test I give my graduate students, all talented and well-educated. Please analyze this Jackson Pollock painting and explain why it is good. It is only after they give very eloquent answers that I inform them that the painting is actually a close-up of my studio apron. I don't blame them. I would probably have done the same, since it's nearly impossible to differentiate between the two. And who will determine quality is another challenge I'm given. If we are to be intellectually honest, we all know of situations where professional expertise is acknowledged and depended upon. Take figure skating in the Olympics, where artistic excellence is judged by experts in the field. Surely we would flinch at the contestant who indiscriminately threw himself across the ice and demanded that his routine be accepted as being as worthy of value as that of the most disciplined skater.
Not so fast.